883-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodmen of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Just got the brakes fixed on my car today.
You did? You haven't even left the office.
I didn't need to. I got a guy who picks up my car and drops it off when it's done.
Well, who's your guy?
Ram Tire. They have pickup and delivery service at all 5 of their Lincoln locations.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You've got used to one segment of good takes in the morning, but now there's a full show of good takes at night. Welcome into Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket.
Welcome in, Raff's Good Take on Sports. Chris Raff streaming in. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. Appreciate everybody joining in here on a beautiful Tuesday, February 24th. We had a high 55 degrees. There's not a whole lot of snow left on the ground. You guys are welcome to join in. 402-464-5685. Chris Raff, how's it going, man?
Going pretty good. Just making my way through another week. You guys get the warm weather now. Hopefully some warm weather will make its way down to Alabama here in the next couple days, because this chilly weather is no fun. I'm in the South. It should be warm.
Deal's off, Raff. We're keeping the nice weather. You can stay with the cold. We're not making that deal. It's been years since we could have this. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on. It's awesome, though. I was talking to Jalen Reyes, associate head coach of that Nebraska volleyball program, and they're going to be hosting their beach volleyball event outside if everything goes well, which I think on Friday it's supposed to be 70 degrees. 60 degrees the couple days leading up to it, so the sand will be nice and warm and it won't be like cold, a few inches underneath. I don't know what's happening, but I'm not complaining. So keep an eye out for that. If you want to watch beach volleyball, you might actually get an opportunity to watch it outside, not in the alloy, because that alloy is tough to get into. It's usually not a lot of seating, so it's mostly just like athletes and families.
Where is the outdoor sand volleyball? Do they play at Spikes?
It's right by, I know, I have to find the address. It's right by like where the students' housing is, by like the student suites and one of their.
So they have sand volleyball set up there.
Yeah, I think it's more to the open, but you can kind of set it up because there's multiple courts if it is outside, and basically just pull up to it free. I mean, not just the students, but anyone in Lincoln.
Wow, that's a great idea. I mean, that's something where when the weather gets a little bit warmer, host get a DJ out there and kind of make it into that what the USVBA or whatever it's called, where they play out in California, kind of up tempo with all the music and stuff. That'd be a great idea if that's something that they could follow through with and make it, one of those attractions, I guess you would say.
Yeah, and I don't want to send people the wrong way, but just go follow them on social media. They'll put it out there. But yeah, you're going to have Nebraska there, Trinidad State, and Wayne State. So you'll have those three schools, and they'll all play each other once. So not just Nebraska. You'll get to watch multiple teams. And it starts, I think, they're 9:30 is what they're thinking now. It was 8 o'clock start, but now that they can do it potentially outside, then it'll go by a little bit quicker because you're going to have multiple matches going on. And it is cool. I mean, you get pairings out there. So you get to see how do two teammates work together with no other help, and it's cool. It's the same 16 players. We don't have a different roster for beach volleyball. It's just an extension of the volleyball program, although it's counted as two separate programs. It's technically 32 athletes under the eye of the NCAA, but it's the same 16 players.
I was just going to ask you, I wasn't sure with being that there's only two girls on the court at once, if they had tryouts within the volleyball team to be like, all right, you're on the sand volleyball team, you're not on the sand volleyball team, or if they're all, all of them are still participating, but just some of them won't play, because I would assume that just your top players will play to get the victories.
Yeah, so you're right. They don't all compete, but all 16 are out there practicing beach volleyball, and there's a lot of things to get out of it, right? You're getting the endurance part of playing on sand volleyball. Like, I'm sure you've watched the Olympics in beach volleyball.
Yes.
It looks like the most tiring thing out there. I mean, they are profusely sweating on their hands and knees, especially if you get to like back and forth. So it's really great just for the skills of endurance. And then you can imagine what jumping on sand over and over and over does for beach volleyball season. And then going back to like hard court where you're getting some of that spring back. A whole lot of wins. I know I talked to Jalen Reyes about it before, but I'm always surprised other universities don't have a beach volleyball team to get to that Title IX number, so they can go ahead if they need more athletes, because you don't need to hire new coaches. You don't need to get new players. You can use a lot of the same equipment and space that you already use for volleyball. It's a really great way. So I think Nebraska is kind of ahead of the curve on how to utilize beach volleyball, as not, that we don't get the chance to maybe go compete and try to win like elite tournaments. But if you don't have a beach volleyball program and you just kind of want to get to that Title IX, and also I think bolster up the current state of the volleyball team, it's a no-brainer to have beach volleyball.
And then I was going to ask you that too. I remember John Cook was the sand volleyball head coach. Is DBK, is she the head sand volleyball coach?
Jalen Reyes.
Jalen Reyes is the head sand volleyball coach then.
Mm-hmm.
And now does that come with a separate salary, I wonder, or is he under the same volleyball salary, or does he get paid a head coaching position for sand volleyball, I wonder?
I didn't want to ask him that on air, but I've thought about it. Asking how many paychecks are you getting, Mr. Reyes? But maybe two, maybe one, because it is interesting, right? I mean, it's just kind of an overlap. Same 16 players, you're working with the same staff. So I don't know if it's just like added on to the initial, or if it's two separate. I'd imagine you get more for it. I mean, he's putting in a lot of work to get all that ready, but I don't know if it comes in two separate payments or if it's just at the beginning.
Well, I was kind of wondering that, just for the fact that I would assume it's two separate paychecks because it's a separate sport. Because would there be ever a chance that maybe you have a sand volleyball specialist out in California and decides just to come to Nebraska just to play sand volleyball and not play indoor volleyball? Because I know there are players out there that, specialize in just sand volleyball. So I wonder if that would be anything that they would ever consider, or is the recruiting just basically whoever's on Nebraska's volleyball team? Or if you are a sand volleyball player and have aspirations just to play sand volleyball at Nebraska, do they go out and recruit just sand volleyball players? I'd be curious to see, I guess, how serious they're taking the sand volleyball, because a lot of those, indoor volleyball players might not have played a lot of sand volleyball, but like you said, it's great having that, that other asset there for them to, practice and, to gel as a team, for the normal volleyball. But I'd be curious to see if they do any type of recruiting just separately, just for sand volleyball players.
Well, I mean, usually what happens for a lot of these athletes, like, although we have a bunch of volleyball players, a lot of these athletes have already played beach volleyball. I mean, if you're getting players from the West Coast, even now down in the South, like, they've probably have some background playing beach volleyball. Yep. They won't, from what I've got, they're not going to go and recruit an athlete who's just a beach volleyball player. Like, they need those numbers to kind of sync up. So if you're on the volleyball team, you're on that beach volleyball roster as well. And also, I don't know if, top tier beach volleyball athletes would maybe want to come to Nebraska, because we don't necessarily go out and compete for the Division I title or anything.
But I look at that too. But sand volleyball is considered a sport, right?
Yes.
So I guess my thing would be like, Nebraska is always talking about being the best at every sport that they participate in. And I understand they're using like the sand volleyball as, but wouldn't there come a time from your competitive juices where you'd be like, hey, let's go out and try to find the best sand volleyball players possible to, make a run at a sand volleyball national championship?
Well, then that's the problem is you're gonna then you get to the question of you're gonna want another staff, right? You can't have Jalen Reyes and Danny Busboom Kelly recruiting for the volleyball team and also for their beach volleyball roster. You can, but I think you're gonna get pretty lackluster results, not because they can't do it, but it's just a lot of time that they've got to put into it. And that's where you kind of get the extension. So nothing wrong with wanting to go out there for it, but currently the way it is now, I think it'd be really tough to pull off unless you're willing to, go get a better facility to practice beach volleyball, right? Because although we have the alloy and that's pretty great, we're not those teams on the West Coast, on the South, or where you can really go do that stuff year in, year out. So you have to overcome that, and that takes a lot of money and it takes a lot of infrastructure. Then you got to get the new coaching staff, the recruiting, more money goes there, and then you can go compete. But even competing, if you're going to go for the whole thing, that's a lot more travel time, which is anticipated, but it just gets tougher to pull out. So if you want to throw a bunch of money at it, that's fine, but you're probably going to have to split that up into its own thing entirely. At least that's the way I see it. Otherwise, I think you might be asking a little bit too much for those guys to go out and win both.
I just like asking those tough questions of you. And then, when that time comes, when the number one sand volleyball, duel in the country says, hey, we want to come to Nebraska and play it, will those doors be open for them? It's just, theoretically speaking,
there's always a possibility, right? If volleyball grows the way that it's growing and then beach volleyball becomes popular enough, like it wouldn't be hard to make it make sense. And like, okay, let's just go ahead and go all in on this. You would not do anything for the Title IX numbers because you're still, again, the 16 teams are going to count as 32 athletes no matter what, or 16 players, excuse me. But you'd have to make it work, right? Title IX is a real thing. They have to make sure it works, but there's an opportunity for it. I just don't know. If we were to do that in the Midwest at Nebraska, I tell you what, we'd be something else. We also have the best beach volleyball team out here. Again, you're gonna find that on the West Coast a lot more, like UCLA and Oregon. I think USC, for example, is like those guys have volleyball. They also have their beach volleyball teams where they go compete, and they're completely separate entities.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I understand, what they've done when they brought sand volleyball to Nebraska. I understood what they were doing, but then you start thinking to yourself, you're like, well, if it's considered a separate sport, so then I think of those other things that go on, especially the college sports now, like the collectives and stuff like that. Do they get paid extra collective money for sand volleyball? Is it, it's fun times we live in here in the world of college athletics.
Yeah, easy enough. Before we get too far, Raff, I got to say, how about that USA hockey team, men and women's? I know that wasn't in the notes, but I want to you got plenty of stuff later we can get to. Gold. I didn't realize that was the first one since Miracle on Ice for the men. That took me back.
It's so crazy because when you talk about Olympic hockey, the first thing that always comes up is the 1980 Al Michaels, Do You Believe in Miracles? And you think, like, I'll be honest with you, I thought that they'd won maybe a couple other gold medals since then, but it was just you had amateurs playing back in 1980, and it was just such a upset to beat the Russians to get to the gold medal game. If you remember, they didn't win the gold medal against in the Do You Believe in Miracles game. They had to come back and play the next night for the gold medal.
Yep.
And and I always thought, for some reason, I thought it was just the stakes that were involved there and the storylines, Mike Garuzioni, that they probably had won some other gold medals since then. So when they said it had been 46 years, to the day of the upset of the Russians in the semifinal game, it was crazy. But how fast do 46 years go by? For you, they went by really fast, but just, it's so wild to think that, they had not won a gold medal in ice hockey since, 1980, and how they got the championship. That was a crazy victory. And it's definitely one for the record books. That's for sure.
It was awesome. Obviously that was That guy's definitely gonna get pulled over. Sorry, I saw a cruiser really tailgating this truck. So whoever's driving on south, though, if you're listening, you got two after you. Goodness gracious, drive safe out there. That's what you guys are trying to do. Lost my trail of thought there a little bit. No, with the Olympics, obviously that was incredible. The men and women to both get gold, and then you realize the time span. And I was in your same boat. I was thinking maybe they rattle one off every 16 years or so, and me just not being a big enough hockey guy was just forgetting them. But no, I wasn't forgetting. They just had one since then. So incredible. And say with the Olympics go by way quicker than you think. It's kind of crazy. We're done with the Olympics already. And I don't know, this year I feel like it was less popular than in years prior or more popular. Obviously, hockey's always hockey. People always seem to tune in for that. But all the other events, I feel like I didn't get as much buzz out of it as we usually do.
I'm beginning to think that it's maybe not that it's not as popular. I think there's just the flooding of everything that's on television now. Like go rewind 8 years, rewind 4 years, rewind 12 years. And now there's just so much on television, and you have all the streaming networks and stuff like that. I think it takes away from it because back in the day, you had like NBC, and that was about in, and yet, ESPN, of course, but it was just basically NBC, ESPN. So your choice was, okay, we're watching the Olympics. For me, I'll be honest with you, the delayed telecasts, like I know you could watch the hockey game live in the morning there to be able to catch that, but the rest of the things, like even like with Lindsey Vohn's injury, you already had known it had happened before it was going to be live, on NBC later that night. So I think it kind of takes the juice out of it. It'll be interesting to see what happens here in 2028 with Los Angeles hosting the Olympics. If it being, only a 2-hour time difference for us, if the captivity of the games and the excitement of the games tends to expand more, but like I said, it's just all those channels now and everything, all the different options that you're given. It's just not like what it was, back in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s.
Well, you're definitely right there. On top of that, you got the flooding of content and then the attention span. And I'll raise my hand. I'm guilty. I'm almost certain, unfortunately, that my attention span has gone down with just the overflood of information that we get to consume for good or for bad on a daily basis. But I'll tell you what, the 2028 Olympics, I think that's going to pop off. When the U.S. is the best place to host these, and that's not me just being biased. I mean, we have the facilities. We have all these pro arenas everywhere. We maybe have to make some, but for the most part, we're pretty well covered. I mean, we are easily the biggest sports economy out there out of all these countries. Like we really generate a ton of revenue off sports. So that should be an absolute ride. That's all I had on the Olympics, though. I just want to shout out the Olympic team and shout out Jack Hughes. He got cut from that Miracle on Ice team, but he came back all the way in 2026 to make it through. I don't know if you caught that in those scenes, Raff. When they're cutting roster members in Miracle on Ice movie, the name that gets crossed off is Jack Hughes.
That's wild. That is wild. Yeah, that's I think I'm getting excited for 2028. There's so many storylines in 2028 that are building up. Like Simone Biles, she really hasn't, announced a retirement yet from gymnastics. So it'll be interesting to see if she decides to make a run one more time in 2028. And then I have this sneaking suspicion that you could possibly, I know he's kind of not, I don't think he said he's going to compete again, but could you imagine LeBron James as his swan song playing in the 2028 Olympics?
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this, his game translates really well to the Olympics. And I know there's a lot of people that don't like LeBron James for whether you call it antics on the court, like I don't really know. He's a great player. I'm not going to pick him apart. But when he's in the Olympics, even if you're the biggest LeBron hater, he's so good in that Olympic format. You saw it last year. Obviously, Curry kind of stole the show away for his incredible performance, and rightfully so. But they leaned on LeBron multiple times last time in the Olympics where they won in France. And a big part of it was there's LeBron James in a lot of those games where he's just playing beautiful basketball. And it's that high passing. You need to be a little bit more creative. You can't just play that ISO ball. The NBA style doesn't work as well because of the rule changes. and you have to have that really good passing and playmaking ability. And LeBron James served that up in a major way. So I can see him replicating that. I'm not asking for the LeBron James of Miami Heat to tomahawk dunk on people. I just need that playmaking ability, and you'll have that for as long as he wants.
But I mean, that would be a heck of a storyline in Los Angeles. You know, you'd think it's probably going to be the end of his career here in the next year or two. Cap your career off with, you know, a possible gold medal. And then I was wondering also, I don't know if they've announced like locations and stuff yet. Would they play at, you know, was it crypto.com or whatever? Or would they, I wonder where the locations would be at if they're going to play, you know, where the Lakers play, or if they were going to play where the Clippers play. And then our opening ceremonies, will they be at SoFi? I would assume they're not going to be back at the Coliseum, because they've kind of adjusted the Coliseum after they held the Olympics there back in '84. But I'd be curious to see where the locations are at for the 2028 Olympics, or if I've got to believe they're set, but it'll be interesting to see, you know, where the competitions take place. Like the track, I mean, is it something they could put in SoFi? Or yeah, it's going to be interesting. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I don't know what the locations are. I'd have to look that up and make sure they are all finalized, or if there's still some they're disputing on trying to figure out who gets to host what. But yeah, I'll tell you what, it'll be a lot of fun. 2028 Olympics. I know we're way too early on it. We still got 2 years, but it doesn't feel like that long ago where we had that last Olympics. Also, we get flag football in this one, don't we?
Yes, flag football will be there. So
dominate that one. You would think Nebraska. You would think the United States would be able to dominate in the flag football department. So
do you know who the top flag football quarterback in the country is right now?
No.
He played point guard for the Boston Celtics.
Rajon Rondo? Who would be the best flag football player right now?
Rajon Rondo. You are correct.
Are you serious?
He is rated the top flag football quarterback in the country right now. So it'll be interesting to see if an NFL player can, because it's a different type of game. Flag football and, you know, professional football, or, you know, tackle football, it's different. It's a lot of different traits. Like, I know that a lot of these NFL players think that they're just going to walk on and be Olympians, but there's going to be some flag football players out there that are going to be like, maybe not. So it'll be interesting to see how their games translate on the flag football field.
That'll be a big contest of pride. That'll be, if Canada gets good enough at it, Canada versus U.S. flag football will maybe just be just as electric as it was for us. And well, I know it was Russians with Miracle on Ice, but today it's obviously Canada versus USA, and that one always really heats up in hockey. Yeah. You know, maybe Canada's going to need a miracle on the turf when it comes to flag football, and that'll be the next rivalry there. Should be a lot of fun. Raff, we also have plenty in the Husker local athletics going on. Baseball, hot start. Then they lost 3 straight. To decent opponents, right? It was Kansas State, Louisville, and Stanford. But then they take down top 10 opponent Florida State, and they decimate them. It was a 10-1 finish in that one. And then you can go take a peek at softball. Softball is just tearing through teams right now. They look like a team that's destined for the World Series if things keep clicking the way they are. Thoughts on baseball and softball? You can pick which one to talk about because they're both sitting in a good spot.
Well, baseball, you know, they lost the first 2 games of the series. But then I heard that they had the old team meeting after the Kansas State game on Saturday night. Came together, probably got, I don't know if it's a clear the air type meeting, or just, hey, what do we want this season to turn into? And they came out and, you know, dominated, you know, there on Sunday, got the big victory over Florida State. So I think the baseball team's on the up and up. I think they're playing some good early season baseball. Like you said, they dropped a couple games they'd probably like to have back, but it's not like they're playing, you know, bad competition by no means. So I think they're on the up and up. And the Nebraska softball team, I'll tell you right now, I mean, I feel like in their minds they're prepping for Oklahoma City. I hate to get out in front of it, but I just feel like, you know, what they're doing with Jordy Fram. See how I said that? Fram, not Ball. Jordy Fram. But she played in the last 5 games. You know how many innings she's pitched?
Oh, I don't know. A lot?
5.
That's good sign.
Yeah. If you have her going into the regionals and the Women's College World Series fresh and not have a bunch of innings on, I mean, you're going to have the most, I mean, hands down, she's the most dominating player in college softball right now. I just don't think there's anyone else out there. She should have been National Player of the Year last year, but I think she's well on her way to achieving that honor this year. But man, if you have her going into the College World Series, and then you have the pitcher, I forgot her name, you have her, racking up innings, the experience that she's going to have, and you're going to have that two-headed monster. I mean, watch out for Nebraska softball. And if you're Rhonda Revelle, you're just kind of taking a step back with a smile on your face right now and saying, all right, anytime, anywhere, we'll play anybody. I mean, they've already proven it. They're 2-1 against number 1 teams this year. So they definitely are not afraid to compete against the best in the country.
No, I mean, they're absolutely solid. And the point about Jordan Fromm too is what makes her so good is you have that bullpen to support you, and she's such a good batter. So, you can kind of use her in ways to where it's going to be more advantageous to have her as a hitter than it is maybe save her legs there than it is pitching multiple innings in a game. Because we had that a little bit with Shohei Ohtani. I remember it was a conversation because he was so good at bat. And then I was like, well, how much do we want him out there pitching if he's such a good hitter? And it worked out at the end because they were such a good lineup as it was already. Yeah. But for you to have those conversations kind of just puts you in your own regard as to how dominant they've been. I didn't realize it was only 5 innings.
Yeah.
So far with her.
The last 5 games, she's pitched 5 innings.
Good luck. I have to double check on who Nebraska softball has next. Good luck to whoever's got to run into that buzzsaw right now because they've taken down the defending champs. They've taken down the number 1 team at the time in the AP poll. They're absolutely clicking right now. So should be a lot of fun. And the bright side, it's still early for us to follow both the baseball and softball program. We got to throw it to break, Raff. Where do you want to kick things off on the second segment?
Oh, second segment. We should talk about a little bit of Nebraska basketball. We got a big game tomorrow night. We can do that and maybe transition over to some NFL.
Maryland is hot right now, too. So I think it's fair that we spend some time on Husker Hoops and their challenge coming up with Maryland. And also, maybe we can sneak in women's basketball because they got a much-needed win over Washington. But I'll tell you what, this next one versus Rutgers, can't afford to lose that. Maybe we'll sneak that in. Don't go anywhere. Raff's Good Takes on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines.
Now boarding.
Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Fans, are you craving the ultimate game day experience? Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill has your front row seat to all the action. Dive into delicious wings, juicy burgers, and ice-cold drinks, all served up with TVs covering every inch of the wall, so you'll never miss a play. Rally your crew, cheer on your team, and take advantage of game night specials every week. Stop in for a Nebraska basketball game with a party of 4 or more and receive a free pitcher of beer. Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill, right by the Lincoln Airport at 3111 Northwest 12th Street.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at SartorHeyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and on behalf of the entire Koppel team, we would like to say thank you to all of our loyal customers and employees that have allowed us to become one of the most successful GM dealerships in the country for the past 50 years. So we are celebrating that with some huge discounts. Right now, we have up to $13,500 off MSRP or 0% APR on select new models, and new Blazer EVs are leasing for $279 a month with zero down. So check us out online at KoppelCars.com. All deals with roof.
Tired of your furnace running overtime this winter? Let Heartland of Nebraska Windows save the day. Upgrade to stunning, energy-saving triple-pane vinyl windows installed by their team of experts. Every window comes with a lifetime warranty on everything, all for a price you can actually afford. Free estimates, flawless replacements, and peace of mind from a family-owned business you can trust. Don't wait. Call Heartland of Nebraska Windows at 402-430-3852 or visit heartlandofnebraskawindows.com today. Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565.
Back to Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket. With all the good takes you need, here is your host, Chris Raff.
Welcome back in. Second segment, Raff's Good Take on Sports. 93.7 The Ticket. We got some good basketball to talk about and some anxious basketball to talk about. Want to do men or women's first? And I know a woman won't take very long, but
let's do women. Let's do women. Yes, women.
okay. So with the women's basketball team, again, Nebraska women's basketball, they are in a tough spot. They beat Washington big time, much needed. Shout out Britt Prince, step back three to hit it when it matters most to put them up. But most people have them as like the last team in as it sits. Rutgers is 1-15 in Big Ten play. If you lose that, you're really on the outside looking in unless you can rattle off a big run in the Big Ten tournament. Even if you beat Rutgers, because it is, sorry, Rutgers, this year's women's basketball team, it's not going to do a lot to move you in the needle. So they got to beat Rutgers, and then they probably need to win, I'm going to say, a couple games in the Big Ten tournament to be safe. Win one, I think you're leaving it up to fate, which is really tough because they had such a good start to the season, and then they went on that 6-game skid, and hopefully they're kind of clicking. Britt Prince looked awesome in that last one, but I think you're going to need to rely on some hot hands, and Britt Prince might have to come up in big moments. Just kind of surprised the way the season turned out for how good it was with Amy Williams and staff. But on the bright side, like I said, they beat Washington, a good Washington team. You take care at Rutgers, probably win one in the Big Ten tournament, but to be safe, win two. They're kind of right back on trajectory of a little bit lower than what people had expectations for, but not too far from it.
Yeah, no, I think that game was big, just big for momentum. Because remember the previous game against Oregon, they had the big lead and lost at the end. So now you get the win on, is that Saturday?
Saturday.
Yeah, you get the win on Saturday, get your momentum going, you get a victory. Now if you're Nebraska, they're going to beat Rutgers. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. They will beat Rutgers. And then you go into the Big Ten tournament. And like you said, I think two games gets them in, but like you said, you don't want to leave it up to fate and just only win one. But hopefully that momentum will switch, and hopefully Wonder Woman will take control and get Nebraska some victories. I have now named her Wonder Woman now because her name is Britt Prince, and if you remember, Wonder Woman's alias was Diana Prince, so she is now Wonder Woman for Nebraska basketball.
Well, she's been playing like it. That is certainly true. There's a few guys I want to get to on the men's side as well. I kind of got looking ahead there, but Britt Prince, she's been playing great. On the women's side of things, as ugly as things have gone, you finally kind of got it right when it matters most. So as long as you can keep it going the way that you have it right now, and again, I think Rutgers should be feel good. I think you're right saying we'll go win that game. Catch that swagger and that confidence back. And then, again, you're right on trajectory, although it's a little bit choppier than how you would have liked.
Yep.
You punch your ticket to the dance, you don't know what's going to happen there. So it seems like maybe a letdown to some people, but if they can punch their ticket, you kind of just wash all that away. Nobody cares about the regular season when March Madness starts. So I think they're sitting all right. For men, they got a different challenge. Theirs is a little bit about where they want to be in seeding and what do they want for that Big Ten tournament, because they're in position right now to be a double bye as that number 4 team in there. So to get 2 games where you're just chilling, relaxing.
I think triple bye, right? At number 4.
Oh yeah, no, excuse me. Yes, you're right. Triple. I'm down there in Chicago. I know they're playing at the United Center where my Chicago Bulls try to play basketball games. They don't always look like basketball games, but they're in a different position, and they got a tough one with Maryland coming up next year. A few of their guys that are just going to be a problem. Colt for Maryland, he's been a monster. He's been given 29, anywhere between 20 and 29 points a game. They got as well Mills. What do you have? Yeah, versus Northwestern, he nearly had 40 at 39 points in that one. He had 24 versus Iowa, 21 versus Washington. Really, their young guards are starting to figure it out. And at the beginning of the year, you might have watched this team and not been super worried about him. But as the season's gone on, you can tell the guards in particular, that room, they're starting to find their confidence. So this is what I deem a pretty good Maryland team that's playing their best version of basketball that we'll get tomorrow. So it's good that we're getting them at home, but you can't take these guys lightly. I mean, if you go watch some of their last games, they look dramatically different than if you caught them at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, but I really feel that this game, there's 2 keys to this game for me from a Nebraska perspective. Number 1, they're playing at PBA, the vault, the home field, the home court. The home court advantage, and you're rolling down the final 2 games at PBA for the year. And then the second thing that's key for this game is how are the referees going to let Nebraska? How are they going to let the people defending Nebraska play? If they play play physical like they did against Iowa, it could be a long night for Nebraska. But if they let Nebraska, run its offense and call the fouls that are there, then I think Nebraska gets the victory. I just think playing at home for Nebraska right now, it's super advantageous for them. Just what the home court does for Nebraska, and then on the lookout for Jamarcus Lawrence, the Jamarcus flu watch now to see. I would think that there's probably a good possibility with him having the flu, having the ankle, that maybe you sit him for a game just to get him back. But we'll see come game time, tomorrow night, 6:00, Big Ten Network, what they plan to do with Jamarcus.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the team. They're not injury prone, but they're very sick prone this year. Like, we just have guys getting sick left and right. So I don't know.
I'll tell you one thing though. The best thing that's coming of this is hopefully it's going through the team right now. And then when the NCAA tournament comes, there'll be like the quote unquote herd immunity, and we won't have to go with, the flu or anything like that when the NCAA tournament comes. So I guess that's one blessing in disguise for Nebraska basketball, that you've had, Sam Hoiberg, Rink Mast, Barrick, Jamarcus. So what do we hopefully, Fraser, Fraser.
Prager.
Why am I saying Fraser? Be better, Chris. Be better. Hopefully his parents aren't listening. Was it Rick and Gene? So, hopefully they're not listening. No, but hopefully, Frager's, he's got a touch of it and it's through his system, and Cal Jacobson and all those guys have got the flu a little bit, so we don't have to deal with that come NCAA tournament time, because that would be the most Nebraska thing of Nebraska things to happen. Get in, say, a number 3 seed, and everybody on the team gets the flu. That would be the ultimate curse.
Yeah, then I'm, I really will be thinking curse, because that'd be unreal. Yeah, I don't know. It's been bizarre. There's been, it's not just Nebraska. I feel like players getting sick left and right this year, or I'm hearing that, and maybe it's just a recency bias, but yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Like, it's getting to the point where, like, I don't know if get to the Big Ten tournament, if Nebraska gets that herd immunity that we just Spanish conquest our way through the Big Ten tournament, like the way teams are getting sick, it's a little bit unreal. So obviously never wishing for anyone to get healthy. I just want good basketball, but especially for our Huskers, hopefully they're all right. I don't need another story where Braden or Jamarcus Lawrence, after the game had to go to the ER and just get a liquid IV because he was throwing up so much. That's been that kind of year. But on the bright side, no significant injuries outside of Connor and Sejan. So on one note, though, you got to feel good about Samford. He's playing such good basketball right now. And it felt like after that Iowa game, we got a little bit, I don't want to say he's changed his game. He's playing the same way he has, but even a little bit more fearless, where you saw in that last one in particular, he's taking shots. And if he makes one, he's going to pull up and take the next one, even if you're in his grill.
Yep. And you got to love it, being at that home court. I always love that home court advantage. Hopefully you get the shooter's roll and all that good stuff. So I think, PBA will be hopping. I even being a 6:00 game, I think it's starting to dawn on Nebraska fans now that, this is basically, like, I hate to say it, but Sam Hoiberg, these are his final 2 games at PBA. I mean, he has became a Husker basketball legend, and you want to get to see him, these final 2 games at PBA, and the rest of the seniors that are, that have given, what they've given in Nebraska basketball. Rink Mast, I mean, these guys are playing their final 2 games at PBA. So I think these next 2 games for Nebraska, it's going to be hot. Well, of course, the Iowa game is going to be insane. All I say about that is make it a great home court advantage, but just be respectful and courteous and classy about it. You don't have to drop down into, the Iowa crazies. You can be classy, but still have a great home court advantage.
Oh yeah. And it is crazy that we're talking about Sam Hoiberg, like, man, only 2 games left to see him. How many people would have said that at the beginning of his career? I mean, he's going to go on as, like, not just a Nebraska walk-on, like a walk-on example for a lot of guys that maybe got the chip on their shoulder. And it's incredible. He still leads the nation in assist to turnover ratio by a significant margin. He's really racking up the amount of points he's scoring a game. And, he's the only guy, I saw a crazy stat, only guy under 6 feet that's, or 6 I don't know what they have him. I want to say they have him at like 6'1", but
Yeah.
I think the exact stat was the only guy under 6'2" to be averaging 5+ rebounds a game. And that's a statement to just his work ethic, but also his IQ reading that ball when it comes off the rim. And Raff, I'll be serious. I never thought I'd get to a point like this, but he's playing such good basketball that NBA teams are at least going to take a look at him. You know, I'm not saying they're going to draft him day one, but you can't tell me that's not a fascinating player to like, well, let's see what he does, because we see it with Jokic. You don't have to be the most athletic player to be dominant on the court. And every checkbook that athleticism had for Jokic, he failed all of them. But he is one of the best players on the court. And Sam Hoiberg, again, that IQ, I'm not saying he's Jokic, but if he keeps getting to that point where he's just playing 2 steps ahead of the defense or offense, like NBA teams are going to be interested in that.
Well, here too, look at that. He's thinking to himself, he's going to come in, play 4 years, and then probably start his broadcasting career. Yeah. But even if you don't get it, a test from the NBA or even get the chance in the NBA, he's going to go overseas, I would think, and he's going to make some money overseas now. Just what he's produced over the prior 2 years. I mean, he really came on last year, and now this year it's just been solid. Like I keep on saying, Sam Hoiberg for all Big Ten, probably not first team all Big Ten, but I could see a second team all Big Ten nod. I could, in the coaches poll, potentially see him get some first team recognition, just because every coach that plays Nebraska walks out going, Sam Hoiberg. I want a player like Sam Hoiberg. So it would not surprise me one bit that he gets a lot of consideration for all Big Ten from the coaches in the Big Ten.
I think there's a good shot he gets first team on the coach's side, like just because of he does the things that add so much impact to the game that don't go to the stat sheet. And like I said, I might be hyping up his play a bit too much, but I don't think by a whole lot. I don't want I don't want to keep doubting or putting like barriers on Hoiberg just because of his height. Like he's just kind of proven over and over and over again that he's much better than people give him credit for. So at this point, like, let me just hop onto the wagon. Does he have a lot of challenges to go through if he wants to play at the pros? Like, of course, the height, that's always going to be there. But again, he's kind of proven that he can handle the disadvantage and then still be better than the players on the other end of the court, despite the disadvantages there. So I just want to put that out. This game's been incredible.
Even too, what I want to say about him also is, even at, if he is 6'1", maybe 6'1", I don't know. You think he's 6'1"?
6'1" is, I think, what they have him listed. I mean, when he's stands in here with me, I'm at 6'2", and he's pretty close to where I'm at. So I want to say 6'1", maybe 6 foot.
So being at 6'1", 6 foot, does anybody attack the rim like he does? I mean, he gets to the rim. Some of those shots he puts up, like the reverse under the hoop shots and stuff like that, he's got such a great, to attacking the rim style of play. Being at that size, you wouldn't think he'd go on there amongst all the trees the way he does, but man, he attacks that rim, at his size, like one of the best that I've seen in Nebraska. So he's fun to watch. And like I said, there's 2 games left. So I assume that PBA will be rocking these next 2 games.
Oh, he looked like Dr. J on some of the reverse layups he's had this year. Like I mean that. Like the one, I can't remember who it was against. It was unreal. I mean, just skied across and had a crazy spin on it. Beautiful touch. And he had at least a guy who was 6'10" and another guard like trying to close behind him. But he's so good at using that rim and then just using his explosiveness to where if you do get a touch on it, you're goaltending 100%, because there's no way you're going to get there in time on the opposite side of the rim, or you're just not going to touch it. And if he's got the soft enough touch, which he's shown he has, he can get those in a lot of times. So just a fun career to watch. I just wanted to give him his flowers. I know it's kind of been the Sam Hoiberg show, but rightfully so. I mean, he stepped up in bigger ways than people even anticipated from last year. And then, of course, you had the defense. We didn't talk about all the steals he's able to rack up on top of taking care of the ball and getting extra attempts with the ball, because he is so good on defense. So, I mean, that's all I got. I feel good about this basketball team. You got Sanford playing well. You got Rink Mass, who, yes, he's up and down, but if he can get just back to 90% of the beginning of the year, and some of those numbers were inflated because he was shooting the ball so good that I think you might have been a little, I don't want to say foolish, but to think it was going to stay like close to that high 40 or high 39, 40% range for the rest of the year was well beyond his normal numbers. So if he can just kind of get back to the averages, that's a lot of good people to stop on this Nebraska team. And then, of course, Rink Mast is that guy. If he starts knocking it down, well, now the floor starts getting really stretched.
Yeah, watch out. If Rink gets on a heater, watch out for Nebraska basketball. They're going to be a dangerous team. And like they say, Nebraska is a tough team to only have a day or two to prepare for. So I think the advantages lie in Nebraska going into the tournament. Not sure who will play yet, but you would think that both games, if they could win the first game, that they're going to be favored in the second game. So I would think that the advantage will lie in Nebraska, because it'll be harder to prepare for Nebraska than Nebraska preparing for the other team.
100%. And that's what gives me so much confidence. And the thing about Rink Mast, final thing, and then we'll go to break. He usually, in the biggest moments, he's done well for Nebraska. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. He's got that clutch factor. And as much as people, maybe were a bit disappointed in his game as of late, I still got a lot of stock on Rink Mast, especially if they catch that break. You can't tell me. They get the triple bye, you get a fully rested Rink Mast. I think that's when things really start to change, but you got to take care of business with the games remaining on the schedule, and that one being Maryland tomorrow. We'll have postgame for it, so be sure to tune in then. But don't go anywhere. This is Raff's Good Take on Sports, 93.7 The Ticket. We'll get Raff's Good Take on the other side.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Lincoln's Coffee Week is now Coffee Month in February. With 25 participating venues, visit and check into at least 10 for a chance to win a $250 gift card to the venue of your choice. More details at lincoln.org/coffee-month, brought to you by Visit Lincoln.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful, with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Looking for the right utility tractor for your acreage? Find it at Landmark Implement. Shop our selection of used John Deere compact tractors from 1 through 5 series with the power and versatility to track mowing, yard work, snow removal, and more. For a limited time, get 2.9% financing for 36 months, followed by 6.2 for 24 months with approved credit. We've got the right fit for your property and your budget. Stop by your local Landmark Implement or visit us online at landmarkimp.com today and experience the Landmark difference.
Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Fern as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Stop into Zollner Ford Beatrice and check out a brand new 2026 Ford Explorer for only $39,995. That's right, under $40,000 for a brand new Explorer, loaded with extras like Copilot 360, second row captain's chairs, and more. With approved credit, receive financing as low as 2.9%. Treat mom to a new Explorer for Valentine's Day this year from Zollner Ford Beatrice, Nebraska's volume dealer with the hometown service you expect. MSRP $45,175.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up And we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Looking for something fun tonight? Axe throwing, local beer, and great vibes are waiting at Arbor Axe House. From casual nights out to celebrations and team events, it all starts here. Reserve a lane today at arbораxe.com. Arbor Axe House at the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Nutrition Authority invites you to check out the top-selling Epic Effects. Epic Effects is designed to help blast body fat, curb cravings, and provide smooth energy so you can cruise through the day. Home of free samples and better than internet pricing, Epic Effects can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street, online at doubleeagle.golf.
Just got the brakes fixed on my car today.
You did? You haven't even left the office.
I didn't need to. I got a guy who picks up my car and drops it off when it's done.
Well, who's your guy?
Graham Tire. They have pickup and delivery service at all 5 of their Lincoln locations.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Back to Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket. With all the good takes you need, here is your host, Chris Raff.
Final segment, Raff's Good Take on Sports 93.7 The Ticket. Don't go anywhere. We got Don't Punt Hour, Good Morning Pierce Snell, and then Late Night with Nick Wyman all the way till midnight before we get out of here. Chris Raff, only got a little bit of time here left. What is your good take for February 24th?
All right, everybody. Today's Raff's Good Take goes out to Brian Seck. Brian is the executive director of Lincoln Literacy. But what caught my eye with Brian is before that, he used to help out with the homeless. And he realized when he secured them new housing that a lot of the people moving into the new houses did not have beds. So Brian's went out and he secured over 5,000 beds and got them to the people's houses. So I read that story and it's just incredible that he secured, put together and moved in 5,000 bed. Man, I hate moving beds. It's the worst. And that he's done it 5,000 times to help out the community of Lincoln. Just awesome. So Brian Seck, you are Raff's Good Take for all the great things you do in Lincoln.
What size beds we talking about, Raff?
Man, I don't know. I would assume that'd probably be like doubles or singles, doubles, queens, maybe
singles and doubles. Like that's incredible. I if you're gonna tell me like queen mattresses or king size, I was like, give this guy a medal. He still deserves a medal, even if they're the twin size beds, because that's a ton of work, Raff. You nailed it right there. Moving sucks. I hate it. I think everyone I've talked to doesn't enjoy the process of it. And when you're just doing it with your own money, that you're not getting anything out of it, and you're doing all the labor and doing that over and over and over again just to be a good person, that's a different level of commitment that should be celebrated.
You know what one of the worst things in college was for me?
Moving.
I had a pickup. So every time somebody moved, it was, hey, Raff, you want to come over and help me move? I mean, what do you say? You can't say no. So I did a lot of moving in my early years. It was like, sure, we can use my pickup. But yeah, I dread that. I think that's why everybody's always like, why do you always drive such a small car or SUV? It's like, it eliminates me from helping anybody move.
Yeah, it does suck when you have the vehicle that suits the purpose. Luckily, I had multiple friends that had trucks, so no one ever got leaned on too much. But I'll never forget when I lived over on B Street. I had the good old Jeep Commander, and she's still alive today, believe it or not. And we're all sitting there because we were like, did an impromptu, you know what? Let's go out to Laramie, Wyoming for a snowboarding trip. This will be awesome. And then we're like getting all the stuff ready. And then I was like, whose car should we take? And then the people are going with, they all had sedans. And I'm sitting there like thinking about my Jeep Commander. And I'm like, oh, we're going to have to take my car all the way across the state to Laramie, Wyoming. And then sure enough, it was about 45 minutes later, we're packing up my Jeep Commander. And, it happens. So shout out to the people who are willing to sacrifice their vehicles for the better of others. But even then, that's a pretty slight act compared to, what was his name? One more time, Raff?
Brian Seck.
Brian Seck. Shout out to him. Because again, that is, I'm being serious. He deserves like a big medal for that one, because that is not a fun thing to do. And that's got to be incredibly appreciated by the people he helped out. So with that being said, Raff, appreciate it as always. Talk to you again tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. Tick Weeknights keeps on rolling. 93.7 The Ticket.